modernizing Indian military. The Indian Armed Forces received around rupees 63,000 crore, less than what they had demanded for military modernization in this year's budget. This at a time when military confrontation with China in the east hasn't de-escalated yet, and the China-Pakistan collusion gets stronger. Parliamentary Panel on Defence has expressed concerns over the fund shortfall and has suggested that adequate budgetary allocations must be made available to the armed forces. It has also said that the Defence Ministry should not make any more reductions in the coming years. And joins me is Major General Sanjay Soi, who's retired, now a defence expert. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to Mirror. Now, appreciate your time. I'd like to ask you this. Why do you think there's this shortfall in demand and allocation? And will the 2 lakh crore projected requirement of the forces be enough to enhance India's combat capabilities?
In fact, Charlene, I would like to bring out a couple of things. This is very important to have you cannot compromise on defense preparedness. So whatever budget has been demanded, this has been demanded for capital allocation is different, and for salary and other things are different. That's why if you see this, in the present scenario, there's a need for modernization in the sense that you see this 2.15 crore is the demand and allocation 1.52 crore. So when there's a lot of steps have been taken by the government of India, but there's still a shortfall in the whole package. There's the artillery guns have been we have started making. The Tejas has come in, but the fact is that we are still dependent on the imported weapon system, imported guns, imported missile system, the surveillance system, radar system. So, and with the present scenario, if you see this, the conditions in Ukraine, a major lesson learned for Indian Army is to be self-reliant, to be, we cannot depend at the last minute supply of the arms and systems from the other countries. We need to have our own system, and when we are facing a problem on both the front, China and Pakistan. So it's very, very critical for us to have the defense preparedness with us, Charlene.
That's right, Major General. In fact, you rightly pointed out, how the Ukraine-Russia situation has shed light on the importance of being self-reliant, especially with our defense system. And, just to elaborate more, I'd like you to, in fact, elaborate more. How do you read the timing of this recommendation by the Parliamentary Panel? We've been facing threat from China for decades now, and a skirmish with Pakistan is not new either. Do you think the global developments on the Russia-Ukraine front and Russia's growing ties with China and Pakistan has a bearing on this particular recommendation?
In fact, if you see the couple of things which have emerged now, is that the tension with China has not reduced. The China and Pakistan are getting closer and closer. The new dynamics which have emerged on the global order is the Russia and China closeness. And though in India's stand during the Russia-Ukraine war, we have been neutral. But however, how much that means the US is now sort of showing anger, and they are asking us, okay, history will ask India where we stand. So that is the kind of thing. So we have maintained neutral thing, but how much can we depend on foreign countries, whether in the US or Russia? That's the thing. And the border situation remains critical as now. With this, and if you see the Ukraine, last minute supplies do not matter. We need to have our forces prepared, because whatever armament or latest systems we get, we need to get time to prepare for it, train for it, and integrate into the war fighting concepts, war fighting plans in the strategy. Then only, because anything new which comes in, it can make a broad changes in the overall plan, because that will enhance the capability. Just for example, if you see the drones, use of drones in the present Ukraine-Russia war, and before that in the Azerbaijan-Armenia war, where the drones had made a major entry by and carried out heavy destruction of enemies or other sides, tanks, supply chain, and disrupted supply chain, and it is very difficult to detect, very difficult to find out. So it changes, brings out a new angle of warfare. So that is where problem, but it needs to be integrated in the overall systems. It needs to be integrated in the overall plan. That's how it takes time. It cannot happen overnight. And Sharleen, one more thing I wanted to bring out: defense acquisition and defense plan. Today, if we decide to buy something, whether within India, it will take minimum 10 years to develop. If you want to buy something from abroad, also at least 5 to 6 years of delivery time is there. 3 to 5 to 6 years delivery time it takes for the whole things to get delivered, whole package to get delivered. So we need to think well in time, think beyond maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Then only we can think of that, yes, we are prepared, Shirley.
Certainly, foresight is, a crucial element here. And just based on this one final question, sir, so even if we manage to, overcome that shortfall of funds and give our forces the funds and the funds that they require, I'd also like to point out that 70% of our, defense system and the equipment comes from Russia. It's also a known fact that the growing ties of Russia and China and Russia and Pakistan too means that Russia is providing the same arms and ammunition to China and Pakistan as well. So even if we meet those funds, will we be actually able to, enhance our combat capabilities when we're actually fighting against the same equipment that they have got from Russia just as we have got?
In which, Sharleen, firstly, because of this sanctions and because of this war and the relationship, the supply chain will get affected. The number of engines, rocket systems, and surveillance radar, submarines, aircraft, which we are buying from Russia, and the air defense system S-400, that will get affected. But however, it doesn't matter whether China also has the same system, we also have the system, Pakistan also has the same system. The fact is that how do you use those systems? That is what matters. And